So it all has to come to an end at some point. Let's talk about The Strangers Chapter 3. So this was definitely an experiment that we were all waiting to see how it would pay off. Would Brian Bertino's characters make sense to return in a trilogy that was filmed back to back? So I'm telling you, this movie already made the bank that it needed to make in order to be deemed a success. And I just don't know how people will feel about it after, because it seems like this movie hasn't been appealing to most people. But we will see what happens, how the studio feels about it, and will Renny Harlin come back to make another like sort of cult film into a trilogy that people just are going to be disappointed in? We'll see. But let's talk about The Strangers Chapter 3 and what exactly happened in this movie. So, of course, we know that this was the movie where we were supposed to get the answers. Who exactly were the strangers? What was the big idea here with Venus, the town, and all of that? And will Maya escape? And at the end of the previous film, we saw that Maya was able to take down Pinup Girl. And of course, Scarecrow and Dollface were out here trying to get retribution about that. This film opens up with a flashback that sort of showcases to us what exactly is going on here. And we get more flashbacks and we get more sort of exposition about who the strangers are. We find out that the sheriff is actually aiding the strangers, and that is because Scarecrow, or Gregory, is actually his son, and the sheriff's been aiding him ever since the death of Tamara all those years ago, and the sheriff just wanted him not to kill people from Venus, the townsfolk, right? It just had to be other people. Strangers? I don't know. Is that where the word's coming from? But we see that Maya is eventually captured by Dollface and also by Gregory Scarecrow. We find out that Dollface's backstory into her coming into the stranger's life is that she and her boyfriend actually came to Venus, and her boyfriend had actually been hitting on Pinup Girl, and so that got Gregory a little pissed. They were chosen to be killed. They made it that night into their motel room, but found out that Dollface herself had already killed her boyfriend. So it was like, bro, come on, join the group. We're the strangers. And that eventually is the origins of how the three of them came to be, right? We see that Maya is then recruited to take the place of Pinup Girl now, and they go to kill a couple, which of course Maya doesn't want to do. And we see that Gregory forces her, because right before this, she actually does kill Dollface, and she is forced to kill this woman now. Now, we do have Maya's brother-in-law, Howard, as well as her sister, Debbie, looking for them, and eventually are able to come across them, but are then killed subsequently. And this leads Maya to sort of have a spiral in her like whole psyche, because she just witnessed her sister, everybody she loves, is completely taken from her. And Gregory feels this is kind of fair, because we eventually see as well that he is just going to take Dollface now, and he has nobody left. It's just Gregory solo as the stranger now, and Maya solo as well. But she decides, no, I'm getting my revenge, and goes back to his lair, where she eventually comes across the sheriff, and then she shoots him, because of course the sheriff's been an accomplice in all of this and has helped the strangers evade the law for so long. And just as she's about to kill Scarecrow Gregory, she realizes that maybe they have more in common as Gregory unmasked, and they realize that they have nobody left but themselves now, and maybe this would be a good time for them to get together, right? We see a bit of a bonding moment between the two, but then Maya pulls out a knife that Gregory had given to her just before she was putting Debbie's lifeless body in the truck, and she decides to kill him then, because she must put an end to the strangers. And she realizes that this is probably the end as she leaves Venus, and that's pretty much it right there. So the movie took 3 films in order to let us know that the strangers are just a couple that took out a girl back in their teenage years, and then recruited another girl because they were going to go kill her and her boyfriend, because the boyfriend had hit on the girl, and then they recruited her, and they were terrorizing people ever since. And the reason that they were never caught or were continuing to do this rampage was because Scarecrow, his papa is actually the sheriff of the town, and he's able to keep things in check. Just as long as they don't kill the townsfolk, people won't really care. They just got to kill tourists or strangers. And that's pretty much what The Strangers Chapter 1, 2, and 3 were all about, as Maya eventually loses everybody, but she's able to be the final girl in the end by making Gregory think that she's going to be the new pinup girl, but she's not. And that's all there is to it. I don't know what to tell you about this movie. It definitely is a doozy. As a trilogy, I wonder how people will look at it back in time. Could this become a cult trilogy in the future? Who knows? You know, sometimes we take a couple of years to look back at work that we deem not great, and then we're like, well, it wasn't that bad, right? So curious to see what happens with this and if people enjoy it in the future. Very interesting experiment from the studio, from Renny Harlin, everybody involved, Brian Bertino to some degree. I find it so fascinating how when this first got announced as an idea of something they were planning, my excitement for this was through the roof. The first one released and I was like in the middle. The second one released and I was like, what are we doing here? And then I didn't even know the third one was coming out until a couple of days ago. And I was like, oh, that's something to watch this weekend. I didn't even know that was coming out. That's exactly how I thought about it. But this is where we end the Strangers trilogy, and let me know what you thought about it. I still think Pray at Night is the superior Strangers just because of the aesthetics. I think the Brian Bertino film is definitely up there as well, and those two are super amazing. And then this new trilogy is way below it. Even though there's nothing else to fill in the gaps, I still want to put it a little bit below those as well. So that's where I fit in with the Strangers chapters 3, the trilogy as a whole. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Was this something that you were expecting the trilogy to conclude with? Is it meeting your expectations? Is it worse than you expected? Or did this actually exceed your expectations? Curious to know. There's been a lot of people that definitely do not like this movie, but there are people that like it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't for me. I just feel like you could have kind of handled all of this into one film instead of making a very elongated like chase scene in one, and then instead of trying to stretch it out so much, I feel like they really could have made one solid film or maybe two, but I just don't understand why 3. That's just my thoughts. But let me know what you think about it. We'll talk about the trilogy as a whole later this weekend and try to dissect what exactly were they trying to do here. Stay tuned for that video. Stay tuned for Whistle Breakdown as well, the new horror film out that definitely should be priority over this one in my opinion. So make sure you check out that video, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. On the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. And I'll see all of you next time. As always, stay safe, stay positive.
You've been through hell.
I know where they are.
Where are they?
It's easy.